everybody. We're at Sunset Beach today, and I'm going to show you how we set up the drip system here. We got two sides here. This is like cabana 1 and that's cabana 2, but between that and the road we've got you know, a lot of our like jungle or plants and stuff. But I'll also show you again. It's another beautiful day. We've got some clouds. It's been trying to rain and kind of faking us out for about a week now, with wind starts kicking up and you see some lightning off in the distance and then no rain. So anyway, and that's why I have a drip system, because this is the dry season and it hasn't rained in maybe a month. I mean, everybody thinks maybe the Philippines is all tropical and it's raining all the time. Well, it's not raining all the time. It is tropical. But what was happening was, you can see that's my plants, and they were dying, you know, because there's no rain here, and I have to come here and water it manually, you know, almost every day if you're going to keep them, you know, thriving. So you know, as you saw what I did earlier in the video over at in my garden with my vegetables and stuff, I put in a drip system. Well, I did the same thing here. You can see I've got my drippers here positioned between these two plants, so they kind of share. I don't have a dripper for every plant. What I have is a dripper for the area. See, like right here we have 3 plants. This plant here, this one, and this one. This one wasn't even out of the ground when we put the dripper in. We got a new leaf going, but this guy here has been keeping this area wet. We have like a little plant like that. I don't know what those are called, but as you can see, we've connected everything. You can see the little spider legs kind of going out to every area, and the plants are really getting happy. This guy here just turned all green, and I haven't even seen him before. And these guys are starting to come out. The drip system's been here for about a week now, and I turned it off the other day. There's the only thing you may get is weeds. However, a drip system is a little bit better for weeds, but we got a mess of ants here. I don't know if you see that, but there's a mess of ants. I got to deal with those. Usually chlorine. I have a little squirt bottle, and I made a little pinhole in the top, and I just squeeze it and it squirts out chlorine, and it just drives the ants out of there. But anyway, you can see everything's starting to kind of come back to life now. Even you can see that little sprout there, that little green sprout. That was a elephant ear that had died back to nothing because, again, there was no rain. So we also planted a bunch of new things here, moved some plants around, brought some, you know, from the house there where we have basically our storage facility for landscaping plants. We also cut these guys, the top off, because they'll sprout out like that. When you cut them, they'll get 2 or 3 or 4, and that'll make those, wait for that guy to go by. But yeah, they'll sprout out 3 or 4 of these type of tops and be a little more bushy. Also, these are red ones, so we're trying to get more red color like those, the red and green in areas, you know, kind of groups of colors, groups of yellow, groups of red, groups of green, groups of white, lighter colors, darker colors, but just kind of group things. So what we did too, we went under, see, after we ran it, well, here, I'll go back to the start. We had a water faucet here that we ran under the road before it was built, and you probably saw that video, or if you want to see it, it's still there. So there was a water faucet here. We actually put a T on here and a valve, and then that runs behind here, around behind there, and out into the landscape area here on this side. I call this one cabana 1. I should give it a name, something tropical. Just wanted to show you the drip system and how it really helps tremendously. This banana tree had died here from, lack of water, and now the baby shoot's starting to come out from its roots, so that's good, and he's growing really well. The bananas over on the main lot, over there, I don't know if you can see them. They're kind of hard to see, but around in there, they're just not responding real well to the drip system at all. But they were in quite a bit of shock, too, from just, starvation, basically, is what it boils down to. So they're on the dripper now, running, and a few of them are responding, so it's going to be a slow process. It'll take another week or 2 or 3. And also all my seeds germinating. We'll actually walk across here and I'll show you what's germinating now, and we'll be back with more from my paradise on Bantayan Island. We'll be on the main lot side. That's where we're headed. What we got to do is install a watering system of some kind, because I'm not going to come down here every day and water 25, 50, 100 plants, and I've got them also over at my front yard. So we're installing a drip system. You see this black pipe? This is 1/2 inch black pipe, and we're using these compression fittings. In the US, they have one that you just slide in. These are compression type. The US are cheaper, and they don't cost you. These cost like about $1 and some change each, or more. Yeah, they're kind of expensive, but that's what we got here in the Philippines. So as you can see, this little spider looking thing, what we've done, we actually poke a hole in this tube with actually a sharpened nail. And it's got to be the right size nail. If the nail's too big, this is going to leak. If it's too small, it's hard to put that in. This is a dripper here, and it's not like the ones I see in the US, and somehow there's a million baby flies, but I'll show you an actual one in just a second. But this distributes to 4 of these guys, and they just stick in the ground like that, and then they slowly drip water on the plants. Just drip, drip, drip. And you can turn your drip system on all night, and then it'll run, and they'll slow water them, which the plants like the most is more of a continual supply instead of like a feast and famine type thing. So what we've done so far, and I'm going to give my wife the camera, okay, is we also have this roll of black tubing here. See that? This is the stuff that we use to run from the main line to the drippers. So we take this, and we basically, what I do is I get one of these guys, and I said I was going to show you what it looks like, but it's real microscopic. But you can see right here, I think you can see there's little areas. This is where the water goes in. There's a little tiny microscopic screen, looks like a stainless steel screen inside of here, and then the water runs through here, and it comes out this channel here on this side and this side, and it runs down and then drips into the plant, or into the ground nearby the plant. So I have to slide this thing into here beyond this thing. Once you're up here, you're into the kind of like the safe area where it shouldn't leak. So I have to go up into there. Basically, I can go all the way. If I want to clean them, I don't want to have to struggle to pull these off. So I just went about halfway up, and that's about as far as I can go without really, straining myself. And I'm going to put the dripper in the ground here, like right there. Just stick it in there so it stays. Then I've been using my pruning shears, and I have 2 pairs of these. I also use these to cut this black tubing, this 1/2 inch black tubing. And be careful, they've got 2 thicknesses of this. They have thin and thick. Get the thin stuff. It's cheaper and it lasts just as long, but the thick stuff is too hard to poke holes through. It's too hard to bend. You'll see I'll show you how I cap the ends of these. So I just kind of measured from there to here. You can see it's a little bit loose. Cut that off, and then I put this in here like this, right there. Slide it on, and voila, we've connected the drip system to there. Now I'll show you. This is our garden here too. So we've connected the drip system to run in the garden, and we're gonna, you know, obviously plant plants first, and then connect the drippers to where, you know, our plants are. Grow some tomatoes and chilies and okra and eggplant and who knows what, whatever we want to grow. We've got 4 lines, and we have a row of plants on each side. And I don't know if you can see the lines that I made in the soil. So basically there's one line there, and there's one line here, and this is going to go down the center. It's kind of bent there, but I'll straighten that out. And then we'll have the same setup where one 4-plex serves 4 plants. And that's pretty much how we're doing it. So over here we've got 3 servicing these banana trees, and this is uphill here, and this is downhill. So we've got our source coming uphill because water pressure isn't always real good here. So you let gravity do some of the work. You can see we've tied into the main line that goes down to our water faucet, water faucet there, and over to up to where the supply is from the road. So as you can see, we ran the main line out here, and then everything is below that, so that the gravity will also help you know, push the water out of the drippers. It does take a little bit of pressure to get these out, so we're going to see how well it does with the pressure that we have at night, which is somewhat decent. And hopefully it's somewhat decent. During the day it's weak, especially in the morning when everybody gets up, starts taking baths and cooking breakfast and washing dishes and doing laundry and stuff. They overtax the water system here, and then there's no water basically until 11 o'clock, and then at noon it starts all over with everybody eating lunch and going home, and again it overtaxes it and you don't have water. So I just want to show you, because I forgot to show you earlier, how I poke the holes. I've got a big pair of vice grips, and I have this size nail. I think this is a 2-inch nail, and it's the right diameter. It's a little bit smaller than the diameter of the plastic thing that goes in there, and you can see I've sharpened it with my grinder. It's a very sharp point, and then I just clamp it into my vice grips like this, really tight, really tight like that. And then I take it, and you have to be careful because this is very sharp, and this tube is kind of hard to poke through. So we want to not push too hard, because you could go through the opposite side. So what you do, you just kind of gently go through there, and you'll feel it, it'll let go. And then I kind of wallow it out a little bit, because this is actually smaller diameter than what the piece that I'm going to put inside is, right here. The other thing that I do, because it's real hard to push these in with your hand, I have a pair of chin locks, and that just sets right in there. And so I take it, line it up there, and have it on the ground, and then I push and pow, it's in. So that your fingers will be hurting if you don't use a tool like that. And then the little 4-ways, and I don't know why they didn't make the 4-way. Here's the configuration, the final configuration. This is the part I just stuck in. This is the 4-way. Now, why didn't they just make this on the 4-way anyway, instead of having to buy 2 parts? I have no idea, but that's what they did. So anyway, this here slides on here, and this is smooth here. You'll see the part that goes in is like a barb, and this part's smooth. So you just slide it down there. You can hear it, it's kind of tight, and you're done. Now you hook up the tubes. So we're going to hook up the tubes, and we'll be back with more. These little plugs that I made, see where terminating it right there, I just tied one piece in. I tied it before I cut it off of the main spool, so I tied it just right by the end, cut it, and then slipped it on here. The same with this one, tied it, cut it, put it on there. So you only use 2-3 inches of that to make a plug of this small tubing. So anyway, just wanted to give you a heads up on that. This is a guava tree. These things are going wild on my land, but they're really sweet. But it's going to drink from this tree and this tree, so I'm not putting a dripper on that one. So anyway, eventually I'll have another row of trees. See right here, this is the top row, and again I'm putting everything, all the drippers, on the high side, because water is going to try to run downhill. So all my drippers are on the top side, so it runs through the roots before it runs on down. And because my land slopes back here towards the mangrove swamp, That's a mangrove swamp there. So anyway, just want to show you how to plug them for ones that you don't use, and we'll be back. Okay. All right, everybody, I wanted to show you guys this fittings that I use for drip system. They're compression fitting, but there's some things you need to know about it. It's each connection has 3 parts here. It's got this cap, this compression plastic piece, and this little O-ring. When you get these at the store, check them. Make sure that they're flexible like this, because you'll get old ones that are not flexible and they'll crack when you put the hose through here. So make sure that they should feel really smooth, slippery kind of, and very flexible. As you can see, they're not hard. When they get hard, they'll crack. So this is important. The other thing you'll need to do, you see this? It's got this plastic stuff here. You got to cut all this off, because this isn't supposed to be here. This stuff here. So you can get a knife. I'm trying to break it off with my finger right now, but this is just I would call it flashing. You can see it here too on this side. You see that there, where there's a piece of plastic there that isn't supposed to be here. Also here on this end right here, this little leaf, this little shelf-like thing that sticks out, that's not supposed to be there. This giant piece of plastic is not supposed to be here. So you got to trim all this stuff up. This piece here that's on the top, this piece not supposed to be here. You know, so you're going to have to clean these up, because you try to use them as is, I can guarantee you they ain't going to work. So anyway, and when you buy these, before you pay for these, check them. Take every single piece off. I mean, check these O-rings especially. Make sure the O-ring's in there. Make sure this piece is in there, and you know, of course, this piece has to be there too. Because if you're missing any piece, these won't work. And here in the Philippines, they won't give you a refund, and they won't exchange them. So once you buy it, it's yours. There's no going back. But when you put your pipe on, you actually let me get a piece of pipe and I'll show you. I've got a little short piece of tubing. I'll show you how to assemble these, and because I've got 2 of these out, I'm going to put one of them back where it goes. Actually, I'm going to use this one here instead of this one, because this one's I need to trim all that stuff off. So the order that this goes is you slide this, I guess you could call it the nut, on first. Then you slide this on with the pointy end towards the nut. Slide that on about, I don't know, 1/2 inch or so, because there's only so much room. There's actually a stop in here where you can only put that pipe in there so deeply. Okay, so it's roughly a 1/2 inch, maybe 5/8. I don't think it's 3/4. And then you put this on here. It's better to put this on here. I mean, you could, and then get it up next to here, and then slide this in. If you have this inside of here, setting in here, and then you try to slide the pipe through, this edge of this pipe will pinch it and cut it, and then you'll get a leak. So again, once you've trimmed this white piece completely, then you just assemble it like this. Slide this in, and you'll feel that I'm holding my thumb here so it doesn't push this white thing back, but you can see that rubber's trying to roll back. I'm going to kind of twist it some, maybe. Yeah, there, that kind of relieves that pressure. Then screw this on. I will also use a pair of channel locks to tighten this down with, because this piece can't come out. I've had it come out on 2 occasions where I just hand tightened these. It came out and water was running, and normally my water bill is about $3 per month, and it was like $900 one month, and then the next month it was 500. So it's 1,400 pesos of water ran out because I didn't tighten this nut here with a pair of channel locks, some kind of a tool to really get these snug. I mean, don't over tighten it because they are plastic and you could strip it or crack it, but you know, you'll need a little bit more than what your hand will do. So basically that's the connection that you need to make, and those are the way to inspect. I'll also show you how to cap these ends. Okay, I'm gonna have my wife hold this camera again. Okay, honey, will you hold this? I'm gonna show them how to cap these ends. So what you do, and I don't have the fitting, but this is, like I said, this is 1/2 inch pipe. And this, I think this is the thick wall stuff because it's really hard to bend. But you basically bend it back, and then you take like a 1.5 inch pipe, because that's what it's going to take to slide on this. And then you slide it, cut a little section like that, and slide it on here. And then that holds that closed, and it seals it off right here at this crimp. So that's how you terminate these, so that, you know, of course, water has to stay in the line and not run out the end. You can clean these too. You just slide that 1.5 inch pipe off, and then open this up. It'll flush out whatever dirt there may be in there, and then just cap it back again. And be sure this is on good, because you don't want it over time to be sliding off, and then all of a sudden one night or 1 week or 1 day or something you have one of these running wild. So that's basically it for what we're doing here with our drip system. And again, you can see these bananas are all suffering. They should be all green and lush and that, you know. These two here, these taller ones that look like they're dead, actually what happens when they die, they really just, the top dies, the roots lives, and it sprouts up a new one. This one produced a crop of bananas, and this one produced a crop of bananas. So after that, they won't produce banana nuts any more bananas. So you have to have one of these sprout up if you want to produce new ones. These have never produced, so they will eventually, all these smaller ones, as they grow. And once we get the drip system in, my friend over at Leo's organic garden farm, he drips all of his stuff, and man, it just grows like crazy. His trees like this, you know, the bananas, they're like a foot or 1.5 feet diameter. They're just monstrous things. And again, you can see that the malunggay, it rained last week, and that's what we got. So again, everything's really having a rough time. Even the you know, lemongrass, that's pretty hardy, it's fading. Over there we have an eggplant that's we planted it a long time ago, and somehow it's survived to this day. I have no idea how, but as soon as we get a dripper on that, he's going to come back to life and start putting out eggplants again. So that is what we've got, and hopefully you guys with that information. Also, we had to order this online, and I don't know the name of the place, but it's in Manila, or maybe Quezon City, or you know, maybe, you know, Makati, somewhere around in there, around the Manila area, that will ship this to you. And they ship it by weight. So if they say they got 500 pieces in there, they probably have 487, because they don't count them. And then they weigh them, you know, just to be sure they don't overship you, you know. But they'll always undership you 6, 8, 12, you know, per bag of whatever it is that they ship. So just expect that as part of, you know, how the business works. And they won't backfill you. So if you call and complain, they go, well, we just do it by weight, so that's what you get. Even though the bag says 500 and there's 483, you know, you missed out on 17. So anyway, just wanted to update you and show you how we are going to take care of all our watering during the dry season and the wet season too, because, you know, if it, you know, don't rain for a week or so, everything still needs to be fed. So I think we got a sunset going on. Well, it was. I don't see it now. You can see the sun before. Right in there is the sunset. Let me hold the camera still so you can see a little bit. I'll shrink it this way so you can kind of see the, you know, cabanas and stuff. So anyway, My wife's hauling out all the drip tubing stuff, and we'll be back with more as she walks off into the sunset from Bantayan Island. Bye for now.